Welcome to Honey and Brown.
Welcome. What do we do here?
We do anime and music.
Today we're doing neither.
Yes.
Today is part 2 of our thank you video to all of our subscribers, to getting us to over 1,000 subscribers now.
I know, and thank you so much for for everyone for always commenting, talking with us, and even just kind of being really genuine and telling us that, oh, it's okay, don't feel pressured of posting some videos, or making sure that we put out videos a lot, or to respond to every comment. We really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we have such an awesome community, and it's amazing. So feeling so blessed and humbled by you all. But anyways, so in our last thank you video was more of just kind of a basic type of introduction to us, who we are, our names, and all that stuff. And we wanted to go a bit more deeper into it, just kind of share some of our likes and our interests. So yeah, again, this is part 2 of it. We have 2 more parts coming out in the next couple of weeks. This part here is going to be our top 5 favorite music,
either artist or band.
Yeah, this one is very important to me because I love music.
That is so true.
Before we start, again, we just want to say thank you to all of our subscribers, and thank you for commenting. And put down in the comments, as for you guys, what's your top 5 favorite bands or songs or whoever. This is kind of the music part of it, so we really want to get to know you guys and know who your favorite musical artists are. So anyways, let's get started. This is both of our top 5 favorite artists. Mine's gonna be a bit more in depth, just because I have I have 2 sections. I have my solo music artists, and then I listen to a lot of rock, so I want my own list for my top 5 favorite rock artists. But yeah,
mine is only 1.
So yeah, let's start with our top 5 favorite music artists.
Yes.
All right.
So my 5th one.
Number 5.
Number 5. It's Vocaloid. One of the Vocaloids that I like is Gumi. I'm just gonna play a little bit of the song that I really loved from her. Yeah, so I haven't really listened to Vocaloid for a long time now, just because he doesn't, he's not really a fan of it, and he always makes fun of me of why I like it. I just honestly, I think I really enjoyed watching the music videos, because they're all Japanese anime so I really just loved it. And yeah, I don't really listen to it right now, but every so often, every few years, I would kind of go into that mood of just kind of listening a lot, because I think I really love the music videos.
All right, well, my number 5 is NF. He is a rapper. We'll play a song right here.
Breathing don't mean you're alive, so I bag up all of my trash and walk out on my tightrope. Positive thoughts on my rivals, I'm trying to be on their side though. Should I feel comfortable? I don't. Last year I felt suicidal. This year I might do something different, like talking to God.
NF, what more can be said about him? A lot of our list is actually gonna be probably the same, because we like the same type of music when it comes to them. But with NF, I won't go too much into it, because I know you'll want to talk about him as well, because he's higher up on your list. But I love him. He's just I don't really listen to a lot of hip hop nowadays. I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of hip hop, but I kind of fell off when it came to rap nowadays. I just don't like it. But he's one of the few artists that actually when it comes to hip hop, he uses it as his source of pain, and he puts a lot of his pain and a lot of his depression into his lyrics, and he does it in such a quality way that it puts a good shine on what hip hop is supposed to be. With hip hop, it's supposed to be telling a story, and I think that's kind of been lost nowadays with a lot of the hip hop artists, but with him, holy cow, like this guy is incredible. You know, if you want to go check out some of his songs, check out the album called The Search, one of the best hip hop albums you will ever hear in the last like 10 or 15 years. So yeah, that's my number 5.
Yes, and now number 4. So my number 4 is Starset, because I think it's gonna be for his bands, Starset too, because we both love them. Like, I really love Starset just because, like, when you listen to them, you get transported into a different time, and like you get transported into space. Like, you get, you know, you really get to imagine what's it like. Like, just by listening to them, they're able to transport you, and that's, you know, that's so amazing when a music is able to do that. And that's why I love Starset, because when a song just hits, like, you know, that's Starset. That's like Starset's signature.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's your number 4. My number 4 is James Blunt. I love James Blunt. When I say, like, I have like you know, some people say they have like a spirit animal. To me, James Blunt is one of like my spirit music artists. I don't know what it is. He is a soft rock, alternative rock, kind of pop rock, sometimes folk, which I don't really typically like folk, but James Blunt, there's some type of like magic within him when he sings. Like, he sings to my heart and he sings to my soul, and I love listening to music. And you know, when I first heard of James Blunt, it was actually during one of my favorite shows growing up. It was called Smallville. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but it's basically like a Superman, or like where Superman was as a kid and as like a teenager and stuff like that. But one of James Blunt's first songs, You're Beautiful, which everyone has heard that song. That song first premiered on that show for North America, and it was actually played during one of my favorite episodes. So I always just had like a special thing with James Blunt. You know, I saw him live like years ago, and you know, all of his albums are so good. Like, a lot of his earlier work is very dark, very kind of like sad and tragic, but you know, as he's kind of progressed, you know, a lot of songs now, he talks a lot more about love and, you know, his children and all that stuff. But from like his first album, which is Back to Bedlam, to his newest album, well, not his newest one, it came out a few years ago, but it's called Once Upon a Mind, which to me, I think that's one of his best albums to date. It's just, yeah, I love James Blunt. We'll probably play a song by him here as well, so. Yeah, that's my number 4.
And my number 3 is James Blunt.
All for the same reason.
Yes, all for the same reasons. Well, I haven't really listened to him in his earlier albums. I just listened to the recent ones. So all of the things that I've, you know, listened to him, like all the songs that I've listened from him is all like makes me all light. He just sings like the anthem of my life. I feel like, you know, it makes me feel like so happy when I get to listen to James Blunt. And yeah, it's just like, he makes me feel light as a feather. And it's just, when he sings, I feel like I'm in a garden.
We can be the champions, we can own the night. Yeah, it might destroy us, but we gotta try. Can't keep looking backwards, running from the light. 'Cause this could be the greatest moment of our lives.
And it's just like so beautiful to me.
Nice. So that was your number 3. Yeah. My number 3 is Eminem. I love Eminem. Again, like, I don't listen to a lot of hip hop, but you know, with him, I grew up listening to him. You know, I listened to him from his first album to now, and he's just, you know, what more can be said about one of the greatest of all time when it comes to hip hop and when it comes to music as well. Like, he's on that level as one of the greats of all time. You know, he has influenced the culture of hip hop and of music in general. So, you know, I mean, when it comes to Eminem, like, that guy, like, I'll always listen to him. I'll always pay attention to him when he comes out. But a lot of his songs, especially during like my high school days, like, he was a huge part of that. So yeah, Eminem.
Even to the untrained human eye, we ain't the same, you and I. Somebody should have explained to you why. For you to go against me is simply insane, you will die. That's why they call me kamikaze. It's plain suicide.
Okay. And my second one is NF.
Yeah.
Like, I love NF so much. Like, I think, yes, the Search album, that's honestly my favorite album. I think I listened to that like for 3 months straight, at least minimum. Because like the way he talks about depression, the way he talks about pain, like, I mean, I wasn't really depressed at that time when I listened to him, but he talked about everything that I felt when I was depressed, or like, you know, because of course, doesn't mean like you're not depressed at that time, doesn't mean like, you know, the depression or sadness goes away. It's still there, it still lingers, but it's just, you know, it's more like it's just like lower than usual. So, but when I listen to NF, it's more therapeutic to me. I know it's like depressing, it's really sad kind of songs, but it's therapeutic to know that someone else also feels the way that I do. And his whole Search album, like the Search album, like, oh my god, I've never
phenomenal.
Like, I don't really like rappers at all. Like, I don't like, you know, I don't like that type of music. But with him, the way he just sings, the way he relays his, you know, he relays his message is just so damn beautiful. Like, it's so intelligent. He's so smart with the way he like with the way he makes his lyrics, and it's just, that's why I love him so much.
Someday, I just wanna leave the negativity in my head. I just want relief from my stress. I just want relief from my stress. Someday, I don't wanna see her have a bunch of people to impress. I just want relief from my stress. Yeah, I just want relief from my stress.
All right, my number 2 is Darren Hayes. Darren Hayes is one of my favorite artists. And if it wasn't for my number 1 favorite, which I think we all know who my number 1 is, I mean, we dedicated a whole channel to it. But if it wasn't for my number 1, Darren Hayes would be like my favorite of all time. And if you guys don't know who Darren Hayes is, back in the 90s, he was part of a duo named Savage Garden, which everyone's heard of Savage Garden. And to me, Savage Garden was my first experience with me discovering music. You know, I've said before on this channel that Michael Jackson, I grew up with him, and he's influenced my life and he's influenced my taste when it comes to music. But that was more because like it was always played in my childhood. It was always played by my mom, and you know, I had no choice, right? I mean, I still love him. He's my favorite artist of all time, but you know, I never really knew what music was until I heard of Michael Jackson. So then when I started to kind of go out on my own as a kid and start to kind of like discover, you know, life in general, Savage Garden was like that first piece of music that I discovered on my own. Like, it wasn't influenced by my sister or by my mom or by like my friends. It was just, you know, I remember hearing their first song, I Want You. Which everyone's heard. To me, when I heard that, it just clicked. Like, I just fell in love with that type of music. It's like, you know, the very pop rock, but it's just, to me, it was the lyrics. Darren Hayes, when he writes a song, it is phenomenal, and he spends so much time on the lyrics. But then I kind of forgot about Savage Garden. As I grew up, you know, I got more into hip hop, and I just kind of fell off. But then I remember right after university, that's when I really started to like get into music. Like I was always into music, but after high school and like me getting into university, I was really finding myself. And one of the first pieces of music that I discovered in university is I rediscovered Darren Hayes. I didn't know that he was doing a solo work, like that he became a solo artist. And my God, his solo work is one of the best pieces of music I've ever heard. You know, it mixes a lot of pop, electronica, trance, you know, a bit of soft rock. It's a bit of everything, but he talks so much about love in such a different way. Like he doesn't talk about love in a very superficial way. He talks about it in a very metaphorical way. He talks about how he compares love to like the ocean and to stars, to angels. You know, it kind of reminds me of Michael Jackson, which is very, you know, fitting because one of Darren Hayes' biggest influences is Michael Jackson, you know. And you know, there's a few songs by Darren Hayes that he actually sounds like Michael Jackson. But you know, I remember the first time I heard him was a song called Darkness.
Change will come. It doesn't really matter where it all began. 'Cause all I know, I was lost. I was lost. No.
That song, as soon as I heard that song, I was like, yes, Darren Hayes is like speaking to my heart at that time. And since then to now, Darren Hayes has always been a part of my life. Like he is my, you know, if it wasn't for my number one choice, Darren Hayes, number one, because he influenced my life on my own. Like I went out into the world listening to Darren Hayes and I really kind of discovered who I was through his music. So Darren Hayes will like forever be one of my top 2 favorite artists.
Okay, so my number 1 is Blue October. Okay, I know that we dedicated a channel for MJ, okay? Please do not be angry with me. I love MJ so much. I really do. I genuinely do. Because, you know, it's just the way, even as when he speaks during interviews, I just love him. Like, I want to always, like, you know, I want to always see him happy. That's how much I love him. I don't just love him for his music, but I love him for him.
But you're just starting to discover him, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm still starting to discover him. So my number 1 is not MJ. He's, you know, he is up there.
He's on his own level.
Yeah, he is in his own level. So, you know, I feel like I shouldn't put him number 1. He should just be in his own, like, his own level there. But my number 1 is Blue October. Like the first song I've ever heard of this band is actually, he introduced me to them. It's Fear.
Today, I don't have to fall apart, and I don't have to be afraid. Get back up, get up.
When he introduced that to me, I think it was the time when I was still in nursing school and I was really like depressed. I didn't know if I could do it. I wanted to, like, you know, I wanted to just stop. And then when he played that song to me, it just, like, every fear that I had, everything, you know, everything that I felt, anxiety, depression, that fear, he was able to talk about it all in one song. And the song is so hopeful. Like, yes, it is, like, you know, it talks about everything that I was afraid of, but it was so hopeful that I can, like, you know, I can get over this. Because, like, we all can, like, you know, we all have some mental issues, or, like, you know, some mental health problems that we deal with everyday thing. But I just love songs where, like, you know, they make you feel hopeful, that they make you feel that they know what you're, like, you know, what you're going through. But also at the end of the day, if they're able to get through it, you'll be able to get through it too. So that's why ever since then, like, I just loved Blue October. Like, all the albums they've come out, like all the albums they've put out ever since, it's just everything that, you know, it always connects. I always relate to it. I loved everything, and I just find them so cool as a band. Like, I love their singer, like, he's so cool, and I find him he's so good looking. and
what a cool name, Blue October.
yeah, and the name Blue October is like, you know, sad. It's like sadness, like blue, and October in the fall. It's just like, it's so beautiful. So, you know, so it made me like every song they have, like everything. I can never just, you know, I never heard a song of theirs that I hated. Honestly, even NF, like I've talked about NF, you know, with everything, like how much I love him, but he still had a song that I didn't like, you know. But with Blue October, every single song he's put out, like they've put out, is just so amazing. I loved every single one.
Well, my number one, I mean, if you can't tell, it's Michael Jackson. I'm not going to talk too much about him because, I mean, we've dedicated an entire channel to him. As you can see in the background, it's all Michael, you know, and I've said in the past why he's so important is that I grew up listening to Michael. You know, to me, my childhood was very important to me, and one of the soundtracks to my childhood was Michael Jackson. You know, my mom was a huge fan. Huge. Like, if you guys think I'm a big fan, no, like she eclipses me, like when it comes to her.
That is so true. She has tattoos of like talking all about MJ.
Yeah, she has like tattoos of like all of the lyrics, like and her place is covered with a lot of Michael Jackson stuff. But
and we need to give her a gift, it's all MJ. We can do.
So that definitely translated into my life and my musical taste. You know, every single artist that I have mentioned and that I'm going to mention in my top 5 favorite rock bands, it's all been influenced by Michael Jackson. He's a huge influence to me. When I think of him, I think of very nostalgia. I think of very much happiness. You know, I never really have a sad thought when it comes to Michael. So I'm not gonna go too in depth because again, we have tons of videos of us reacting to Michael and me talking about how important he is. But yeah, just he'll always be like my number 1 favorite artist, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even like music. So
that is deep.
Yeah. All right, so I just want to quickly do my top 5 rock bands, just because I listen to a lot of music, but I mainly listen to rock music. I'm not really into like all types of classic rock. I'm more into like the modern age rock. But yeah, rock music to me is my favorite genre of music, which is weird because I grew up listening, you know, obviously to pop and hip hop, but rock to me is my true love when it comes to music. So I just want to give my quick top 5. I might give some like honorable mentions because there's a few bands I've discovered in the last couple of years that like are so incredible to me. But with my number 5, it's a band called Red. Red is a rock band that is just incredible. Very big, very type of darkness when it comes to their music. They talk a lot about betrayal. They talk a lot about faith. They talk a lot about, you know, God and the devil, and they just talk about human suffering mixed with the hope and the faith of the world. And you know, they incorporate a lot of, you know, violin and, you know, piano, a lot of the orchestral sound mixed with rock, and it's so good. And the lead singer's voice, incredible.
I see a heart who's a broken one. Hell from the start, hell from the start.
Yeah, so like I just love their style. That's my type of rock music, so I love Red. Number 4 is a new band. I've talked about it a bit on the channel, but it's a band called The Broken View. They're an alternative soft rock band. The dude's voice in this band, Austin Kranick, he has like a gospel voice, but the instruments around him are very soft. So it's such a cool dynamic with that, and I love it. And if I could explain The Broken View in one word, it's atmosphere. Every song by The Broken View has an atmosphere. It has like an ominous presence to it where it's like a foreboding heartbeat, and you can feel it in all of the songs, you know, and it's incredible. The lyrics are amazing. You know, I'll play you a song right here. You know, and he talks about love in the way that I would talk about love. if I was a singer. I mean, it's so insane. And I came into this band during COVID, and it's a band that's really connected with me. I think I started to listen to them like maybe mid 2020, and it really, like, it's been the band, like, ask her, it's a band that I've been listening to since mid 2020 when I found out who they are, and I've listened to them nonstop. Like, almost every day I'll play a Broken View song, like whether it's, you know, at the gym or getting ready or doing the dishes or just kind of like hanging out. I will always play a Broken View song.
That is true.
Yeah.
When we go in the car,
I'll always have the Broken View played around me. And, you know, there's just something about certain bands, when you hear them, they're there for life. So the Broken View, one of my favorite bands of all time. My number 3 is Starset. I'm the one that introduced her to Starset, and I'm very surprised that you like Starset, because all the reasons that you like Starset is how I love Starset. And to me, I sometimes feel that when I talk about music or bands or songs and why it connects with me, some people look at me like, dude, you're weird, just calm down, it's just music. But no, Starset, they have a theme when it comes to a lot of their songs and a lot of their albums. It's very much about space and space exploration, but it's done in a very personal level, because they talk about, you know, the dawn of humanity and the fall of humanity, and how space and technology is taking away our love and giving us more fear. And a lot of their songs come from a very personal touch, but it's mixed with the noise around us. You know, I like to think of them as space rock, because a lot of their songs have space themes, but it's sung in such a personal level, if that makes sense. Like, you really have to listen to Starset to kind of understand. You know, one of my favorite songs, This Endless Endeavor, is the epitome of what Starset is. It's one of the most breathtaking songs I've ever heard in my life. And that song is about death, and it's about you know, finding your way through either your own death or a loved one's death. And if you really listen to the lyrics, it will bring you to tears. I guarantee it. And I wish I never played it for you so I could play it on the channel, but I play the song like 100 times. Yeah. So it would be such a fake reaction. But Starset. My number 2, Breaking Benjamin. My God, Breaking Benjamin. They are kind of one of my first rock bands that I got into. They weren't my first, but they were one of my first. And, you know, all the reasons I talked about Red is kind of what Breaking Benjamin is. They talk so much about big themes, you know, about betrayal, about torture, about pain, about love, about you know, they talk a lot about the angels and the devils and how that can be mixed with your personal life. And I don't know, it's just, there's something about Benjamin's voice. It's very hollow, it's very ominous, it's very dark, but it's also very light at the same time. And, you know, Breaking Benjamin, when it comes to them, I don't know, I can't really explain to them. I just love all of their songs. You know, they don't really talk in a very straightforward way. A lot of their songs are metaphorical, because it can be about anything. Like, one of their songs can be about death, love, it can be about fear, it can be about humanity, it can be about, like, it could just be about pain, it could be about losing a loved one. But the lyrics to me are so insane. Like, sometimes I learn a new word because of them. But I love Breaking Benjamin, one of my favorite bands. So yeah, that's kind of like their style. You know, very haunting, very big, very, yeah, I just, one of my favorite rock bands. My number one is Linkin Park. This is the band that got me into rock music. And it also got me through university, because that's when I really started to get into them. I started to get into them around 2007, 2008. I have already heard a lot of songs by them prior, you know, from their first couple of albums. And I always liked them, but I was more into hip hop at the time. But I always liked them. Like, there was just something about them, like, oh yeah, like for a rock band, I can actually get into them. But then after a while, when I heard Breaking the Habit, which everyone has heard that song, when I heard that song, I was hooked. That was the song where I knew, okay, they're not just a band I kind of listen to and then forget about. They are the band that's going to be with me for life. And they transitioned me into like hip hop, going straight into rock. Because, you know, in a lot of Linkin Park in the earlier work, they were a rock slash hip hop kind of band. They're called new metal, which it mixes a lot of like electronic rock, hip hop, all that type of stuff. So it was kind of an easier transition, right? Because they had Mike Shinoda who raps and Chester Bennington that sings. But yeah, I remember getting really hardcore into them during my university days. My first couple of years of university was very rough and, you know, very, I don't know, I think we all kind of feel like the way, you know, we're all trying to find our way in this world. And to me, music has always kind of been my compass, you know, and Linkin Park was a huge part of that. I remember just listening to Minutes to Midnight and 1,000 Suns during my university days, and I remember just being absolutely blown away, especially with 1,000 Suns, which is Linkin Park's one of their most diverse and divisive by the fans. But that album, like, it really spoke to me. It was a very big sounding album. It talked a lot about personal struggle, and to me, that album was perfect because it was about the end of the world. It was about a nuke bomb going off. And that was kind of like the overarching theme. But with each song, it touched on that as a personal type of element. So it's about how a human being would cope with the end of the world and all of their fears, all of their mistrials, all of their failures being, you know, exposed to them, and how they dealt with it. Because if you knew that the world was going to end soon, how would you react? And to me, that's what the entire 1,000 Suns was about. It was about a person going through life knowing that it's going to end soon, and, you know, them kind of going face to face with a lot of what they have done. And it was such a beautiful album, and it fit perfectly during my university days. But Linkin Park, my favorite of all time, and R.I.P. Chester Bennington.
I'm swimming in the smoke of bridges I have burned. So don't apologize for losing what I don't deserve. What I don't deserve.
So yeah, that was our top 5 favorite music artists, bands, all that stuff. Hopefully you guys watched the whole thing, and again, write in the comments all of your guys' favorite, you know, like all of your favorite bands or your favorite music solo artists or whoever, you know. I really want to get to know all you guys, because I know we all love Michael Jackson, but we all have other tastes as well. And I'm kind of curious, because on our last video for like who we are, I didn't realize a lot of people were into like heavy metal. Like, while I was reading some of the people's comments, I was like, wow, like we have a lot of Michael Jackson fans that are also heavy metal fans. I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. So yeah.
Okay, that is who we are.
Part 2.
Part 2. I hope I hope you like it.
This might be a bit of a longer video, but yeah. Stay tuned for our part 3, which will be out probably next week or in a couple of weeks. That'll be our top 5 anime. Top 5 favorite anime.
Yes.
So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for continuing to support us, and again, can't wait for our next reaction video, which should be up soon. But yeah, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.